Welcome to English 10. We're going to be starting with English 10A. My name is Mrs. Snyder. Most of you have met me before, and we've set up an appointment for you. I wanted to spend just a little bit of time giving you sort of a helicopter overview of Module 1 in English 10. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing my screen with you here and walking you through a little bit. So once you log into Haiku and you click on English 10, it's going to take you to this home page. This home page has a lot of information on it. It has our textbook and some of our essential questions that we'll be um, gearing our learning towards. Our course objectives are there as well. So it's just some information that you need. I also have some helpful resources and websites that might help you along the way for you to use. And so when you are looking for your modules, especially for all of you new students, you're going to want to look down this left side. So the first thing I want you to see is kind of how I'm going to frame our journey as we go through this class. Basically, we have these 4 pillars that I'm going to be using. We're going to start off each module with some curiosity. What are you curious about within the topic that we're studying? And a lot of times I'll guide you toward a certain way of thinking about it. And then we'll do work, and you'll do lots of reading and you'll apply some skills. And then we're going to do mix and remix assignments. You have a mix and remix assignment, a digital project for Module 1. I want you to know that along the way we're going to fail and thrive. That means some things you're going to do really well on, and other times you might fall short a little bit. And that's though how we learn, right? So anything that doesn't go so well in what you work on, you're going to learn from that, and I'm going to guide you towards the next step in learning. And then always at the end of our modules, we're going to do reflections, okay? So if you click here on the overview of the 20% project, this is a semester-long project. I've talked to several of you about it already. I want you to read this. We call it the 20% project because basically 20% of your time in this class you will spend pursuing this project. What I love about this project, I've done one of these myself, is that it is something that you get to choose that you've always wanted to learn, and you get a chance to learn it. You actually sort of have an excuse to learn it now, to make time in your life to do this thing. It could be that you want to learn how to cook something or how to play an instrument, how to learn how to skateboard. When I did mine, I chose learning how to surf. Maybe you want to learn how to paint or draw or how to write a poem or how to learn a certain tech tool or how to create a movie. So there are a lot of things that you could possibly be interested in. The idea is to choose something that you're passionate about or you've always wanted to learn. You're not graded on whether you actually succeed and become amazing at what this is that you're trying to learn. You are graded and evaluated on how transparent you are in your learning and the way that you're able to demonstrate your learning. Okay, so each week just know there's a little bar that says 20 time for Module 1 or Module 2, and each week you're going to be doing one assignment for that, which is actually a blog post, which takes us to this next tab, which is getting started on Weebly. I have gone on to Weebly, which is a website creator, and I've set up accounts for all of you. If you have trouble logging in, please let me know and I will troubleshoot that with you. Once you get started on there, most of it's pretty intuitive. I've walked a few of you through it already. You're going to set up your own website. And you're going to have the first page is your landing page. It's a home page or a welcome page. And then you're going to create 2 more pages. One is called English 10 and one is called 20% Project. You can play with the titles of these a little bit if you want to. Just make sure it's clear to me which page is for what. And then the really fun part is that you get to create these websites, these blog pages to reflect you and your personality. So there are a ton of themes to choose from. You can upload your own photos. They have plenty of photos available for you to use to decorate your blog site with. As you're going through the themes, you can change the colors, change the fonts. You're really looking at format and how you want your blog to look when you're choosing your theme. And remember, anything can be changed anytime. So I think Weebly is pretty intuitive. Come see me or email me if you have any trouble. So you are going to create your Weebly blog. And then we're going to go ahead and show you here on this side, all right here, these are some student samples of blogs. So you can look at a few things if you just want some ideas. And down here, I have my own blog, so that you'll know that I'm blogging right alongside you. I blog regularly, and you can see a lot of my work there as well. And also over here, there is a set of, if I can find it, blogging guidelines. And you're going to want to click on that and take a look at some of the things, the logistics of a blog post, you know, how long it should be, the format, how to do things like links and images, what kind of tone and voice you should have in your blog post. When I'm going to have you commenting on each other's blogs, so kind of how to do that, and how to have some academic integrity and learning blogging etiquette. Okay, we'll go over some more of that later. As we get into, let's go ahead and go straight into Module 1. Module 1, we're going to be looking at, for English 10A, mostly literature, and we're going to be looking at plot and setting of any piece of fiction. Now, you have been studying plot and setting since elementary school, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time delving into this because a lot of this should be review. First thing you're going to do this week is set some goals for the course. You're going to watch the welcome video called Promises. If you were with us in 9th grade, you've seen this before. And after you watch this video, you're going to read this prompt and you're going to write me a little reflection where you set some goals and promises using the email function within Haiku. And then you're going to start on your work. A couple of quick things. We're going to start off with our curiosity, like I mentioned. You're going to watch this video as a crash course on how and why we read. You may need to watch it more than once as the narrator speaks very fast. And then after you watch that and you really have a grip and an understanding, you're going to write your first blog post for your English 10 blog. And this prompt here gets you thinking about it. So read that carefully. Again, if you have any questions, email me. Remember, I'm looking for quality. And, oops. Let's get into the reading. You're going to read 2 short stories for this module as we delve into plot and setting. So we have some vocabulary. If you look at this vocabulary, you have actually seen this before. You've been studying this, like I said, since elementary school. So I'm not going to have you write down definitions. I just need you to know these things, okay? So in order to refresh your memory, we have some ways to interact with your vocabulary here called a Quizlet, and I use these throughout many of our modules. So this one here is flashcards. So here's the word plot, and to remember what plot is, it's these stories, the series of events in a story. Okay, you can go to the next word, setting. What is setting? It's where and when the story takes place. So you have all these terms, and you can click right here and go into some other study modes, some games, some tests, you know, things like that. Okay, so that's what you'll do with that, is just review and learn that vocabulary. This has a Prezi that you watch about plot and setting, and you are going to want to take some notes on this because there will be a quiz later on that information. Then we get down to your reading selection. Notice it tells you to read a bit about plot, pages 1 through 3. So again, you're refreshing your memory on what plot is and why it's important. And then you're going to read this short story called The Contents of the Dead Man's Pocket by Jack Finney in your textbook on those pages. As you read, keep in mind we're focusing on plot and setting. Okay, that's our focus. So when you're done with your reading, normally in an English class, you sit down afterwards and you just answer a bunch of questions. I'm going to assume that for the most part, your reading comprehension at this grade level is going to be okay. So what I want you to do instead is you're going to go to the page in your textbook where these questions are, and you're going to read each question and just make sure that you do know the answer to that question. If you come to a question and you don't really know the answer, you might need to reread a section of the text. And if you're still stuck, make a note of that. We'll discuss these questions at our meeting, so be prepared to talk about them. I am going to expect that you can answer these verbally with me in our appointment. And if there are any that you're stuck on, we'll talk about those then as well. Okay? You'll need this information for your mix and remix assignment at the end of the module. So here we have some more vocabulary, just 2 words this time. And then we're going to move on to the sort of the finishing up of the English 10 module. So we click on here, and again, a little bit more vocabulary, this time really dealing with setting and tone. You'll interact with that vocabulary, getting your curiosity set for reading the next short story, and then you're going to read sort of a futuristic bit of a science fiction short story called The Pedestrian by Ray Bradbury. And before you read that, you're going to read a little bit about setting, okay, in your textbook. Again, you're going to read the story, and then you're going to do the same thing with those questions as we did with the other one. Then the fun part is you get to move on to a digital project to demonstrate your learning. This really is your assessment for this module besides the quiz that you'll have later. You're going to use a tool, iMovie, to create 2 short story trailers. If you've never used iMovie, they have these trailers that have preset templates. You can choose whichever ones you want. They're a lot of fun to create, but your goal here is to show me, right? And anyone who, you're going to post these on your blog, incidentally, so anyone who's reading your blog, you're going to show us that you understand what the exposition of that short story is by how you portray it or build it or represent it in your movie trailer. You're going to show us that you understand the elements of setting. Show us that you have identified what the conflict is in that story. Maybe give us a little bit of the internal and the external conflict. You're going to hint at that rising action. You're going to hint at, what is sort of the climactic moment of that story before it heads into the falling action. And again, you don't have to totally give away the ending, but, hint at what the resolution is so that when I or anyone else watches your movie trailer for the short story, I can tell that you have identified all these different parts of plot and setting and that you understand why they're important. So you're going to want to read all this text. I know it's a lot of text. I include a lot of text there to make sure you have all that you need to do your job well, okay? And then we get down, so you've done that project, you're going to post those to your blog, and then you're going to get down to the final reflection. So the final reflection is a large reflection. It's a very thought-provoking reflection. It's going to be multiple paragraphs, and I really want to sense you in those paragraphs. I provide you with a lot of questions here. This is not where you just sit down and answer those questions, but you do synthesize this all together into paragraphs as you kind of reflect on your learning about the importance of plot and setting in anything we read, and kind of like how that affects even our writing, okay? You're not limited to just these questions. You can bring, examples in from your own life. You can bring things in that you can relate to this as well, okay? So I should see you in your blog's posts. You're going to want to make sure you proofread very well because these are public blogs, and so you want to make sure you check for spelling, check for grammar, and even have someone else in your life that you trust read your post before you post it so that you're comfortable that you've represented yourself well. Okay, I'm looking for quality work here. And last but not least, in Module 1 is you'll do your 20-time work for this module. So this week, all you're going to be doing is sort of pondering ideas for your 20% project. There are 2 planning tools here. These are the Da Vinci Day Passion Detector, kind of helps you figure out some things that you might be really passionate about or interested in. And really nothing's off the table, but I do need to approve your project to make sure it's nothing dangerous and stuff like that. No skydiving here. And then here's a brainstorming guide. So you're going to use these to capture all of your ideas. You're going to post those on your blog, and then you're going to actually write a 20-time blog post where you come up with your 3 ideas for what you might want to pursue as your 20% project, and you're going to write about them 5 minutes each and just ask yourself, okay, what would my goal in this project be? That sort of thing. And kind of flesh it out. We'll talk about it at your appointment, and then next week in Module 2, you'll actually declare your project and create a pitch video to pitch your project to me. Okay, so that takes us to the end of what you have to do for Module 1. I hope it's a lot of fun for you. I hope you'll enjoy doing more of your work on your blog. And if you have any questions, just reach out. Okay.